Hey everybody, infomercial here, back at it again with some invasions, showing off a couple of things that I have been messing around with lately. First one is the Pickaxe. I don't know why I started using this weapon, mainly just because I thought it looked funny. I think it's a funny looking weapon. It's a big, dumb pickaxe. It's not a good weapon. It's not one of the best weapons that you can use. It doesn't have particularly good scaling, it doesn't have particularly excellent damage once you upgrade it. It's just a great hammer. But an interesting thing about it is that it has the great hammer moveset, but it does pierce damage instead of strike damage, which is what most hammer type weapons are going to use. So that means that against heavily armored enemies, you're going to be doing a little bit more damage, getting through a bit more of that armor. And it's got this unique R2, if you're two-handing it, that just kind of looks silly. You just hoist the pickaxe high in the air and bring it down on top of somebody's head. And again, I'm just using it because I think it looks funny. And it kind of fits with the character here. He's supposed to be, I named him Digger Dan, and he escaped from a tunnel somewhere, I guess. That's his lore. And he's wreaking havoc on all the people who did him dirty in his former life as a miner, I guess. I thought it was a funny looking weapon. And I already had a build that was an intelligence build. That's that kind of wolf wizard build that I've made a few videos about. But I brought him into New Game Plus, brought him up to level 160, and kind of changed things up so that it's more of a strength and intelligence build, because we're rocking, I think the build right now is like 30 vigor, 30 endurance, 60 vigor, 30 endurance, 60 strength, and like 35 or 36 intelligence, whatever it is that you need to cast collapsing stars. Because I thought the idea of pulling people in super close and then hitting them with a pickaxe would be humorous. And I wanted to be able to use the Ruins Greatsword. That's the one weapon on this build that is legitimately like a nasty weapon. It is really, really good. And so if I need to, if I want to be mean in an invasion, I can kind of bust it out. But the other thing that I wanted to show off in this video is Waves of Darkness. The Ash of War Waves of Darkness, which is what we just kind of pulled off in that clip there. You slam the weapon into the ground. There's an initial hit from the weapon, and then there are 3 waves that go out that deal magic damage. And the first 2 are kind of rhythmic, right? It goes 1, 2, they're kind of predictable. The third one is delayed, so it catches people. If they try to roll out of the third one, they're probably going to get hit by the third one. And this is, it's kind of the #1, like, anti-gank Ash of War, in my opinion. Along with the Crimson World bubble tier, which I have on this build, which you just saw. I just walked straight into all of those spells and they did 0 damage to me. The Crimson World bubble tier converts magic damage to health for 10 seconds, I believe. And I've got that with the one that gives me extra poise. So if people are just spamming spells like these guys were, I get about 10 seconds where I can try and pull off Waves of Darkness and do something pretty fun with it. Something like this clip, for instance. We've got 2 guys. They're right in front of the fog wall. They're about to go fight Radagon. They're about to go, finish up their game, their run of New Game Plus 1. So I pop the Physic here and just run straight into Comet Azure. No damage taken. Waves of Darkness. There's a follow-up R2 that you can do with Waves of Darkness. That will kind of swing around and catch people who are close to you. So you can do stuff like that. If you are in tight corridors, that's where this build really shines. When people don't have any room to run, if they try and crowd you, rush you all at once. You can use Waves of Darkness to get people off your back. But I'm also using the Rotten Winged insignia, the one that increases damage for successive attacks. And I believe that also increases the damage that you do with Waves of Darkness and the follow-up R2. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't tested it yet and actually taken a look at the numbers. I'm sorry. I felt bad about that one. That guy was clearly trying to just go up the ladder. His buddy was not letting him move. Very silly. Very, very silly. But anyways, I think the Rotten Winged Sword insignia also increases the damage that you do on those successive Waves of Darkness attacks. So I brought this character up to 160 for a couple of different reasons. The first one being that I just wanted to do something different with him, because I don't really like doing spell combos. And the previous build was a pure intelligence build. I mean, I only had enough strength and dexterity to use the weapons that I wanted to use on that build, but I was pretty much only leveling intelligence for my damage stat. But that meant that I had to get good at comboing a lot of these spells. And just the action of toggling spells and comboing them, it just doesn't feel fun to me. It doesn't feel natural. Kind of tough to do that. And if you can combo spells, you can pull off some really genuinely impressive and fun things in invasions. But it's just not something that I really want to put the time in to get good at. So, I put another 40 levels into this character, brought him up to 160 from 120, so that I could convert it into kind of a strength build. So we're using fun weapons and a handful of spells that I think are cool, but it's not really a spell combo type of build. They're mainly for utility. We've got Cannon of Haima on there to harass people if they're being passive, if they're standing on ledges. We've got Adula's Moonblade, I think is what it's called, the one that does the ice damage. That's really good, again, kind of if you got a lot of people crowding you, if people just kind of won't leave you alone. Swinging it twice, a lot of people kind of don't anticipate there's a trailing hitbox on it, so it doesn't just extend to the length of the blade. There's this little, fog of ice that goes out from it that does damage too, and a lot of people don't expect number 2 from that. They don't expect you to hit them with the 1-2 combo, so it's fun to do that as well. But I wasn't getting a whole lot of action at 120. I know that's a lot of people say 120 to 140 is kind of the meta level, and I'm not really a big believer in the meta level. I don't think it really exists. It's not a real thing that you have to be aware of or pay attention to, but that's what some people say it is. And I just wasn't getting a lot of invasions there, so I thought maybe 160 would be a better place to try, because at 160 you're in an interesting spot. You can invade up to almost level 200, and you can invade down into the 130-ish range, maybe a little bit less than that. So that means that you're catching a lot of people at kind of interesting points in their playthroughs. You're getting a lot of people who are done with the game and they're finishing things up. You do get a lot of invasions where you show up in the world and then immediately you get the little sign that says the host has begun fighting the boss, so go home, get out of here. So that's kind of frustrating. But then you also get people who are doing co-op in New Game Plus, which I think is pretty fun, because they're just playing through the game. They're level 150 to 200 or something like that. They're on New Game Plus 2, whatever it is for them. And you also get gankers, so people who are staying in sort of the first new game cycle, hanging out in Limgrave, just trying to gank invaders. And so that's another kind of fun challenge at this level, is can you take on a 3v1 fight with gankers? And I think with this build it has some potential. I'm still sort of messing around with Ashes of War that I want, but having a blast. The pickaxe, like I said, it's not the best weapon in the world, but like, it's a great hammer, you know? It'll break poise, does crazy damage. You get hyper armor on some of the swings. You especially get a ton of hyper armor on Waves of Darkness. It is pretty hard to interrupt that Ash of War, and if people are too close to you, it's curtains for them. I think I do upwards of 1,800 damage if all 3 of the waves hit and kind of the follow-up R2. And there's not many people that go beyond that much HP in this game. Like, it doesn't matter what level they're at. Most people don't have more than 1,900 HP. So if everything hits, then it's just kind of curtains for people. Pretty fun. So I'm liking it a lot. And I think it's kind of an unexpected weapon too. I don't see many people using the pickaxe. And so I like to give these unused weapons a little bit of love, you know, a little bit of attention, because they can really shine if you treat them right. All right, that's it.